Why do you come to watch? This isn't anything, I'm just rehearsing. I don't know why I bother. My name is Lapienski. Lapienski. For 400 years, my family's been known throughout the world. Kings, emperors, common people, everybody, even in America, though none of us ever crossed the ocean before me. It's gone, it's all gone. I'm what's left, the last Lapienski. You think it's easy carrying on? What do I have left after 400 years? A name none of you recognize. A few tricks I can hardly master. And one old vest. The stories this vest could tell. I am Jakob Lapienski, son of Levi. You want to know why I struggle so to learn such basic tricks? It's because of this crazy mixed-up world. My father, Levi, could have been one of the greatest jugglers ever, but he never got the chance. He eventually gave up, lost heart. He even refused to teach me. I mean, as a boy, he practiced all the time while he traveled with his dad. But by the time Levi Lapienski was ready for the stage, all the hatred of pre-war Europe robbed him of his chance. It was 2 weeks before his opening debut. 2 weeks at the Palace Theater in Vienna, when Hitler took over Austria. My grandfather took the family and they fled. They went east instead of west. It made sense at the time. There was strong support for the circus in Soviet countries, and they had friends in Moscow. Well, they settled into Moscow, and again my father began to train. Again for a debut which didn't come. This time his father was arrested, accused of being a spy. Why hadn't he joined the Russian army? Why did he have letters from French and German leaders? My grandfather had escaped from the Nazis only to be arrested by the communists. He was released after a year and went back to work. But by then, my father wouldn't join him. He gave up juggling. Threw away his equipment. He took a job as a clerk in a store. My father, a clerk. It was my grandfather who taught me to juggle when I was 5. Every day when he was home, we would practice together. I used to love to watch the balls and clubs spinning through his hands. They'd soar upward like birds heaven-bound. And when he stopped and showed me, I felt like I was soaring to heaven too. He'd kneel down with his huge hands on mine and a big smile on his face. I could have watched that face forever. But I didn't get that much time. In 1968, my grandfather was arrested a second time. We were living in Prague. He was teaching for the Czech National Circus. Prague was an incredible place to be in 1968. The whole city was like one giant celebration of freedom. Everywhere you looked, people were out in the streets, singing, dancing, marching, playing music. And wherever you looked throughout the crowd were members of the National Circus performing for free, teaching people tricks. This kind of thing didn't happen every day. It was a sense of magic and excitement in the air. Maybe the grown-ups should have known it wouldn't last. Perhaps some of them did. But for a few weeks, we were all so full of life. There was so much hope for the future. And then the tanks came. When the Russian army had smashed their way into the city, when the United States had refused to step in despite their promises, well, then the arrests started. And the circus people, usually so apolitical, so uninvolved, were among the first to be taken away. Maybe they were just too much a symbol of freedom. I never saw my grandfather again. We heard he had died the following month. There was no body, so no funeral. But we sat Shiva, I remember I just learned this great trick. I came running in to show everybody. My father picked up the ball and threw it in the rubbish. It was the last piece of juggling equipment he ever touched. But you know, in that moment, for the first time, I began to understand a bit my father. They never gave us grandfather's body, but a friend at great risk brought us his vest, the family vest. It was one of the few things we took with us when we fled to Austria. Yeah, we went back to Austria, the land of my father's birth. But there was nothing left there for him anymore. Even the Palace Theater had been torn down, another victim of the war or politics or something. My father died 6 years later, a bitter man. He hardly spoke at all the last few years. He'd come home from work, eat dinner, and sit in his rocking chair till bed. When he died, I emigrated here with my mother. Well, then I stopped juggling too. I tried to become an American. Well, I was 14 years old. I just wanted to fit in, be a normal teenager. I stopped juggling. I stopped speaking Czech and Yiddish. I tried with all my effort to shed my accent and learn English. My mother never complained about it. You know, most kids dream of running away with the circus. I dreamed of running away from the circus. I dreamed of a normal life, a life with my father and grandparents. I tried to forget my circus tradition, my Eastern European ways, my poverty. I tried to forget. No, I did forget. I called myself Jacob. I went to school, studied hard, played ball. I was good too because of the juggling. But like my father, I never did juggle. I never even told anyone about it. I don't know. I suppose I was happy at the time. I had friends. I was popular. But I also had dreams. Always terrible dreams. I was holding something precious. I couldn't drop it. There was someone up ahead. Couldn't reach him. I just wanted to fit in, to melt into the pot. Well, 10 years ago, before she died, my mother gave me the vest. I began to train once again, a few hours here, a few hours there. I don't know what I was thinking. I had no plans of performing or resurrecting the family. It just felt like what I needed to do. I was around 30 years old. I had just quit my job. I was single. I was alone in the world without one living relative. My only success in life had been to rid myself of my past. Strangers would never have guessed where I came from, and even close friends didn't know about my heritage. When I thought about it, all I had was my heritage, my name, and this vest. This vest. This vest my father Levi never wore. This vest my grandfather Yitzhak's friend risked his life to bring us. This vest my great-grandfather Joseph wore in front of the Tsar. He came out blindfolded and juggled knives, a good trick. The joke in the family was he never got to see the Russian leader. His father, Chaim, wore this vest upside down, with his legs through the armholes. He stood on his hands and juggled with his feet. His mother, Sivia, wore this vest juggling on horseback, standing up. Her father, Yaakov. This vest goes back a long way. One cannot forget when he holds it in his hands. So now what do I do? I'm not in Europe anymore. That world's changed beyond recognition anyway. And here in America, the circus is not valued here. There's no tradition. In other countries, jugglers are treated with respect. We're like opera stars or Olympic athletes. And here, we're expected to wear red noses and big rainbow-colored hair and perform for birthday parties for spoiled 5-year-olds. Or worse, to parade in front of new businesses like walking neon signs. That is not the place for a Lapienski. This vest wasn't made for that. And neither was I. Last year I turned 40. I've been practicing for almost a decade. Sometimes I feel hopeless like my father. But now I have something else to consider. I should tell you, myself, I will become a father. Well, yes, a new Lapienski is coming. Of course I'm happy, but it doesn't make this any easier. Should I perform, or should I be like my father? Will it bring happiness or more suffering? What will be best for my child? There's another question. The old question. Am I worthy of my name? Am I worthy of this vest? You probably have problems and questions of your own. I can't help you. If you want answers, I don't know, maybe you should ask God. But, well, if you want a performance, well, maybe you should ask a juggler, a Lapienski. Thank you. This is a piece I wrote about 2 years ago that reflects my identity as a American Jew. My grandparents emigrated here, and I'm sort of the next generation or the third generation trying to decide how to fit this ancient culture into modern American life, into the melting pot.